This is my state, this is my team. You know what that means. This is for the black and blue that I bleed. This is for the chance to bring home that ring. But everybody gonna doubt this. So far there ain't been another way around it. We bring heat to the game each week. They just say we ain't got what it takes, we ain't bout it. Well, y'all can just keep saying that we ain't gonna make it, but at the end of the day, this will be the Panthers nation. You know, this ain't a game to us major players at every angle that you can think of. That's why you hate us. Get out the way of greatness. You can look at our faces and see the blood, sweat, and tears that it took to create this. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, but you can save it. Cause even on the darkest of days, you know we're always gonna find a way to tell them what we gonna do. We gotta
All right. Let's get this show on the road. What is up, my Keep Pounding crew? How you guys doing on this unfortunately sad Sunday evening? Now, we got a lot to discuss today. A lot of blame to go around, but we'll get to it. But first, if you like the video, if you like the stream, if you like the channel, hit that like button, hit that follow button, hit that sub button, hit that bell, select all, leave a comment down below if you feel like doing so. Be sure to check out my Keep Pounding Facebook page for in-game posts, NFL news reactions, in-game posts, and polls and whatnot like that. So, let's go. All right. Disappointing loss today. That did not go how we thought it would. I'll be real with you. That was not what I was expecting to happen today. The first road would have given us a chance at the playoffs. Probably a wild card spot because the Colts did not beat the Bucs today. So, I thought that upset might happen. It was close, but again, it's Tom Brady and they left him too much time. So, it is what it is. However, that still would have put us in the hunt for the wild card had we won today. That being said, we needed this win. And we choked again. I don't understand this team. I don't understand what we're looking at anymore. Every time I think I know, I don't. Every time I put my hope into this team, they just lay an egg. And I don't understand it. I'm as baffled as y'all are. Honestly. It's just as frustrating to me as it is to you. If not way more so, because, you know, I don't mind doing these streams and enjoying this time with the fans, of this franchise, fellow family members, but it just, I don't know, man. After a loss like this, it does begin to feel like a bit of a grind. And I mean that to say, as far as, diving into the stats, all the workload, that goes into the channel. I don't mean talking to you. I mean all the work that goes into studying this team and trying to figure out what's wrong with it. And trying to figure out why they didn't fix the things that they didn't fix. That's where it becomes a grind. And that's where it becomes incredibly frustrating every single week. We've been doing this dance for how long now? And we still haven't learned a doggone thing. all these Cam Newton supporters, that think Cam Newton is the best thing since sliced bread, still don't understand that the main problem is the offensive line. It wouldn't matter if you brought Tom Brady himself in here. He couldn't even revive this offense. That's what I'm feeling right now because that offensive line will not allow it. And here's my proof. Tampa Bay lost 2 straight games and they had Tom Brady. So what does that say about us having Cam Newton back? He's not the solve it, Mr. Fix It, that everybody's expecting. No, the main problem is still there. You're just putting a band-aid on a wide open gaping wound that's still there. After 6 years, it's still there. And it doesn't matter how much you slice it, how many times you try to dice it up and act like the problem's not there, and try to hide it with extra padded stats, like DJ's numbers or CMC's numbers or fill in the blank Panthers numbers. It's still there. It's like a wide open sore that you can't ignore anymore. And this game was proof of it yet again. And we're going to get into where everybody's going to get roasted, man, because, and again, I want to reiterate this. The reason I roast these players is not just to roast them, okay? It's because I know that they can do better. We've all seen the potential in these players to do better. We know they can. So when I call out these players, man, on these various garbage plays and penalties and whatnot like that, I'm doing it out of love. Tough love. There's a reason why I'm doing it, folks. I'm not just doing it just to do it. And, I'm not going to call anybody out, but I saw that comment, regarding that. And I did reply to it. With all due respect, I do want to say that everybody's entitled to their opinion, and you're more than welcome to post comments about this stuff, but, don't expect me to ignore your comments, though. Don't be like all these internet people that are just like, well, I'm just going to post this and just sit on it for about a week and not reply to anything that comes up under it, But this is ridiculous. Yeah, I gotta say it, man, because I've said it so many times on these streams. I had to say it again. Because there's still some people that don't get it, No offense to you, but you just don't understand, right? Alright, so I am breaking out the new hat today. In case you can't see it. It is Keep Pounding in all caps. There it is. There it is. Enjoy. And that's what we got to do. We got to keep pounding. Wins, losses, ties. We keep pounding. That's who we are. That's what we do. That is how we do things in Carolina. Shout out to Joshua Rogers. Shout out to Anthony Rochelle. Anthony was hanging out with me and watching the game. So I'm going to throw him into the Zoom chat here, and we're gonna get this thing popping. What's up, man? How's it going, bud?
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good, considering. That was a rough loss.
Yep.
So where do you want to begin here? Assigning blame, because it's got to start, to me, with Joe Brady. The play calling, all of these garbage plays that Cam could have audibled out of, it just drives me nuts. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And you could look at all these play calls, and it's just ridiculous. Like, this draw play when you've got 8 people in the box, knowing that there's 8 people in the box, and yet he still runs the draw. I don't understand it. Audible out of that. Look for something new. If there's a sweet play and everybody starts drifting over to the right or the left, try something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, this has got to stop. These coloring book plays have got to stop if we want to run this offense properly. And at this point, it's too late.
I put your toothbrush in the cup in the bathroom.
Yeah, I purposefully avoided these press conferences because I did not want to listen to the excuses. And that's all we're going to get is excuses. Oh, we should have done this. We should have done that. Ifs and buts and this and that. Come on. Just miss me with all that. This was our last chance. Our last chance to get into the playoffs. There's
Agreed.
no excuses to be made anymore. That's it. We're done. Joe Brady has got to go. Season's over. Fire him today. Period. Point blank. If you want Cam Newton to stay in Carolina, fire Joe Brady. Do you really want a whole nother 2 seasons of Joe Brady and Cam Newton just butting heads on what plays should be ran? And to me, yeah, Joe Brady runs the RPO, but still, how many of those are basic plays that come straight out of college? And we can't afford that right now. We got to do better. All right, so Cam Newton. Let's go to Cam Newton now. And I've got these box score numbers open right now. I'm not going to show this on screen right at the moment, but y'all need to see this number, man. Cam Newton, 5 for 21 today. Good Lord. 5 for 21. That's pathetic. That's a joke. PJ Walker, 5 for 10. Combined, our quarterbacks together went 10 for 31 today. Really? 3 interceptions between the 2 of them. That's unacceptable. Now, part of that is on the offensive line, but most of it is on Cam Newton. And I'm going to say this because Cam Newton missed a lot of targets today. And you can blame this one on the offensive line. You could blame this one on Joe Brady, but the part that is Cam Newton that screwed up is on Cam Newton. And I know the Cam Newton supporters don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that at all. They want a scapegoat. They want to throw Matt Rule under the bus. They want to throw Joe Brady under the bus. They want to throw people that don't even have snaps on the field under the bus. Anybody but Cam. Anybody but our beloved hero, that just came back to Carolina. And I don't want to harp on that, but it's the people that are outside of the follower base and the sub base, here that do this. Y'all already know what I'm talking about because you've seen it all over social media, all over these Facebook groups, and it really gets under my skin. I ain't gonna lie to you. It does. And I have to fight back the urge every day when we get a loss with Cam Newton under center to where I have to go onto those comment sections and reply something. I fight that urge every day. Because it's just not necessary at this point. Cam shot himself in the foot today.
Ooh.
I mean, let's be real. He shot himself in the foot today. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I ain't even gonna watch that press conference. I don't want to hear what Cam has to say. Don't feed me that accountability line anymore. It's too late for that. It's too late. We lost 33-10 to a Dolphins team that we should be going head to head with and winning.
That's good.
So when that sugar one doesn't work that good.
So we're looking at a beloved Christian McCaffrey only getting 35 yards rushing today. Only 35.
That's unheard of.
That has never happened before, ladies and gentlemen. No one has ever figured out how to stop Christian McCaffrey that well until this Miami team came along. Now, you can look at all these stats and you can say, well, this happened, that happened. You can make excuses for this player. You can make excuses for that player. I ain't making no excuses no more. These guys haven't earned excuses. Excuses are for losers. Are we losers? Yeah, we're losers. We lost. So guess what they're doing at the podium right now?
I don't know.
If I had only made this throw, if I had only done that, if only the stars would shine in the sky for us.
They will when you do like them.
But they never do. When we get to the playoffs and have an opportunity like this,
They will when you turn the lights off. The stars will
we
shine.
get a chance at a playoff spot every year. And we just blow it. And it's just the most depressing thing. And it goes along with being a Panthers fan. It really does at this point. We're all used to it. We're all numb to it. And it's just gotten to the point where the fans are pissed. They've had enough. And doggone it, I'm joining them. I've had enough too. If Joe Brady is not gone by the time we get to the draft, I want Panthers fans in busloads up at Bank of America Stadium with signs out
You ready for my
saying
input,
fire
Court?
Joe Brady because I've had enough. If they don't fire somebody after the season we just had, with all this talent, my Lord, God help me with this team, man. Come on.
You ready for my opinion?
Absolutely. Go for it, Anthony.
Okay. So it's always been the offensive line for
Facts.
sure. For sure.
Facts.
But also
It's the usual suspects.
the other situation is that here's the story. Joe Brady is also gonna get Matt Rule fired too.
Man, and that's the unfortunate thing about this because Matt Rule is doing everything right so far. You know, he's put together, along with Scott Fitter, an excellent roster of players, except for the offensive line. And it's just sad. It really is. This team had so much potential. And now we're sitting here going, well, we're here again. What now? Shout out to Adam Potter. How you doing, man? But also shout
David
out to
Trimmer,
Underdog Sports, my dude, Kenny. Go check out his page if you haven't already on Facebook and YouTube. But
David Temper is gonna get some resources done.
Tepper's not happy. I can guarantee you that. If I was Tepper, I would have fired Joe Brady a long time ago. He would have been gone after that Giants game. I wouldn't have even waited for the end of the season. I
Yeah,
would have fired him long time ago. Why risk the rest of your season when... And here's the other thing I don't understand. If you're going to go for Cam Newton this late in the season, why didn't you go for him early on? Do you know how many games we could have won with Cam Newton in here that we took L's on?
better than Sam Darnold.
All we had to do was fix the line. It's that simple. Fix the line. And for 6 years, we cannot do that. We're still sitting here missing the playoffs again. I could go on some rants. I could go on some tirades right now. You know what? I'm going to start one. I'm going to start one right now. Let's pick out these players on this offensive line that I see need to go today. Starting with our guy that's supposedly playing center right now. Now, would I have to say twice in one game, why is this man giving up a pass deflection when he should be holding up, keeping the hands engaged of the defender? Twice in one game, he gives up a pass deflection. That's not going to get it done. Pat Eflin, bye-bye. Pack your... All these people need to start looking at their locker room and saying, okay, we cleaned out that locker because we ain't coming back in 2022. Next one is Dennis Daly. I've had enough of Dennis Daly.
Yep.
If you've been watching this man throughout the season and you're as frustrated as I am, yeah, out the door. Peace, dude. Clean out that locker. Man, next one. Oh, I'm going right down this line. I'm going right down this roster right now. Hold up. Let me pull this up. Oh, y'all gonna love this. Who else we throwing out here? And remember now, I'm the guy that said that we are a team that needs to be careful who we get rid of. I ain't even worried about these players. They're not even worth a seventh to me. All right, so Michael Jordan is next. We got a holding call. Good Lord, man. Oh, and getting back to Dennis Daly, he allowed a sack as well. And I think a pressure as well, too. That ain't going to get it done. Trent Scott comes in there, and we get a false start from him. Okay, so even Taylor Moton, the guy that we have as our Pro Bowler on our roster, he even gives up an issue. Creates an issue for us. I mean, so who do you trust on this line anymore? Brady Christensen. We take Brady Christensen off of the guy that he has been controlling the entire game, and the second we take him off of him, look how many quarterback pressures we had. Shoot. And I got my issues with Brady Christensen, too. I got my issues with all of them. This whole entire year. Sam Tacklenberg ain't it either. And I got questions about John Miller, but I ain't ready to toss him just yet. Now, here's the thing. I know I'm going to get a couple of advocates to toss John Miller as well, and I'm not worried about that. I am still going to double down on Deontay Brown. I still believe he is a solid answer for us. We still need to get enough snaps from him to find out, but I think that's a win from this draft. Now, here's the thing, man. We had one win and one half of a win with Brady Christensen out of this entire draft. But these veterans that we got off of free agency have not done squat. That's just sad. I don't. Hold up. I need to read y'all some stats, some rankings right now. Hold up. And I know some of y'all saw this at the beginning of the game, but I'm going to read them off anyway. Because some of y'all didn't. We started off this game rated 19th in rushing. This is on defense now. Rushed 19th. Rate 19th in rushing defense. First in passing defense. And 6th in points. That's what we started out with. And we ended up with this garbage mess. Now, please explain to me how these ratings are accurate when we're sitting here with a 33-10 loss. Please explain that to me. Because the only reason I can find is laziness on this defense. Because we have everybody coming in here and making things happen. You know, during the Cardinals game, they have played well against Dallas. I know that scoreboard might not look like it, but it's Dallas. You know, they were firing on all cylinders at the time. And how are you going to stop everybody? For Dallas, you can't. So, we're sitting here with pretty much one of the best defenses we have had since the Super Bowl. And we can't do anything with it because of a couple of players that got lazy. And y'all already know one of them because he was lazy last week. Do I dare say the name right now? Because I don't know if I want this man coming into my chat or onto my Twitter or something. Because we already got D-Jack on social media this week. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Man, you already know who I'm talking about. Shaq. Shaq, man. That was some of the laziest coverage I've seen all year. And I know all the people that are Shaq supporters are just going, "Oh, what?" Yeah, go watch the film. That's all I'm going to say on that. Because Waddle just made you look like a fish out of water. In a bad way. In a very bad way. And it didn't take him long either. So, would you like to guess who our guy Tua on the other side of the ball was targeting for most of this game? Nah, it couldn't be D-Jack. Couldn't be. Couldn't be at all. Nah, D-Jack is going to recover. He's going to be solid. He's going to look great. Wishful thinking. D-Jack got roasted at least 4 times. Just in the second half alone. And that's just for starters. Now, I ain't saying that he's not a Pro Bowl defensive corner. But what I am saying is this man got roasted for 2 weeks in a row, and we should be concerned now. I don't like that. And neither should y'all. Because this guy was putting in the business all year long. All year long. Up until these last 2 games. D-Jack, what happened to you, bro? Now, I could roast this man right now. I could. But after what he's done for us this year, I feel like roasting him is too harsh. You know what I'm saying? Now, last week, I didn't mind at all. He kind of deserved it. But this week, I saw some tackles. You know, I saw some plays that where he did make some plays, you know, and got the job done. But, you know, it was still too little too late. You know what I'm saying, though? And there's a couple of players, man, that have been pros in the league right now that got burnt crispy on our defense. And I'm sitting there like, okay, we finally took the training wheels off and y'all couldn't handle it. What y'all gonna do when we play Buffalo? What y'all gonna do when we play Tom Brady? Yeah, see. Y'all don't have an answer for that, do you? When we let Waddle beat the brakes off of our corners in our secondary, just imagine what Tom Brady's gonna do. Oh, that's gonna be brutal. I don't even want to think about that. Y'all think you got anxiety right now. Wait till that Bucks game. Oh, God. It's going to be bad. All right. So for the third week in a row, we're shifting the focus back to the offense now. For the third week in a row, what in the world is Matt Barkley still doing on our 53 active man roster? Can somebody explain that to me? Because I'm baffled. I don't get it. Sorry, y'all, man. I'm just thirsty for a win. I'm thirsty for a win, and I feel like I'm in a Sahara Desert with this team. And signing people like Matt Barkley and leaving him on our 53-man roster when we could be putting in some help, from the practice squad to our offensive line makes no sense to me. How many injuries are we going to go through on this offensive line before we finally do something about it? Man, this is just driving me nuts. It's driving me absolutely nuts. And I don't want to be that person that's always, the negative Nancy of the team, but even when we win, but for once I have to be. I gotta be. Because week after week after week, we still are not solving this problem. We're not making any progress. Oh, Lord. It took all of 3.5 quarters before we started throwing to Robbie Anderson. I mean, where were these throws to him before? You know what I'm saying? Was this dude doubled up throughout the entire game? Like, I don't understand. I want to see his stats. Hold up. Hold up, y'all. Robbie Anderson, 4 targets, 1 catch for 15 yards. That's it. They completely shut Robbie Anderson down. This man did not exist today. He was the invisible ghost. Zylstra has more yards than you on 1 catch. That's just sad. That's just sad. Abdullah had 2 catches and still got more yards than you. What are we going to do with this dude, man? Like, I don't understand how this even happens. We go sit here and expect Robbie Anderson to be the Robbie Anderson that he was in New York, and posting all those nice numbers. He was posting them with Sam Darnold. He comes down here, he works with Sam Darnold, doesn't do squat. Cam Newton throws to him. Oh, whoop-de-doo, we got some yards, we got some catches, And then this. Y'all see why I'm throwing this man on the trading block? Do y'all see this now? DJ needs to stay. But Robbie is just, he's costing us drives. As much as I love this dude personally, and again, I'm not attacking any of these players or coaches personally. I'm just showing them tough love because and telling you how it is. I'm being real. That's what this channel is. That's what it's always been from the very day one. And that's what it's always going to be. So, here's the interesting part. I want Robbie in a package with Sam Darnold. That's what I want. For two reasons. One, because they have chemistry, supposedly. And I say supposedly in quotation marks, because he still hasn't proven it in Carolina yet. I saw it in New York, but I didn't see it here for whatever reason. Oh, but it's not for whatever reason because it's Joe Brady and the trash play calling from his chalkboard. So, but the other reason is because I actually do think Robbie is worth something. I think he's worth a draft pick, probably a third or a fourth, packaged up with Sam Darnold. That's my mindset right now. And as of now, we need to start thinking draft picks, draft picks, draft picks. We're already out of the playoffs. It's time. It's time to start looking at 2022 and going, okay, what is the future next year going to look like? You know, who's staying, who's going? You know, who can we move for picks? Who can we keep? You know, how much money are we willing to invest in Cam Newton to keep him here? There's a lot of questions that need to be answered. And I'm going to be real with you, I don't have those answers. Scott Fitterer has those answers. What happened to Cam Newton today? That's anybody's guess. On the things that were his fault, that's anybody's guess. But on the things that were not his fault, that's on the offensive line. And here's my question to you, Anthony. How much percentage-wise would you attribute the blame as far as Cam Newton versus the offensive line today? And yeah,
Let's see.
like if you had to put a percentage number on it,
a percentage.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the offensive line. I mean, I can't guess a number. But I know I've seen it. It could be the offensive line.
All right, and so your favoritism. You're saying the offensive line was the majority.
Yeah.
Okay. I can buy into that. I can. For me, it's more 50-50 because there were a couple of times where Cam just had a clean pocket and, you know, delivered the ball into coverage, you know, into the defender's hands twice, you know. And I want to make this point before we continue because it's important. That second interception, if you were watching, that defender had DJ's arm locked up. That was pass interference, and they did not call it.
I saw that.
I guarantee you, a lot of people that pay attention to detail saw this.
So,
a lot of people missed it.
Actually, you know, it was just two disappointing situations that Cam Newton did that weren't pleased what I saw. The thing that you kind of regard about the interception. But I feel that I think we just need to start over for a new quarterback. You know what I mean? It's just what I'm hearing of how we're going about this. because Cam Newton, yes, he brought us to a Super Bowl. He's MVP caliber, MVP. But I still, yes, we could still have him next year, but we don't know for sure if he's gonna have that other MVP style and bring that.
He isn't.
That's just kind of how I'm gearing towards it. And I'm not trying to diss all the Cam fans.
Right.
It's just how I see things. And we need to start fresh with
we need some direction is what we need.
And see where it leads. Yes.
Pre-concussion, Cam Newton was able to give us that. He was able to give us that leadership that okay, well, this is what we're doing here. This is what we're doing here. This is what we're doing here. This is how we keep the tempo going. This is how we do this. He was just so good at it, in 14 and 15 that these defenses just did not have an answer for it. Now people are starting to figure out these rushing quarterbacks, and they say, well, here's what we do. We just bring up a safety. Or we bring up a nickel corner.
Not to bring up the draft, though, but I kind of have to put that toward it. Mm-hmm. But I want to bring this topic about it. It's so different how we passed up all those quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Kellen Mond.
Yeah,
we could even had Kellen Mond.
Yeah,
I mean, it trips me out.
I'm not really feeling Justin Fields. There were about there was about half a dozen teams that passed on him for a reason.
Yeah.
They had bigger needs, or they were looking for something else, and they just did not feel like that was the answer for their team. And I respect that. We were looking at tackle as well, so we were not, one of those teams. We were looking at that Oregon tackle, which, by the way, they're still using incorrectly. Go look at the depth chart of the Lions. They're still using him incorrectly.
That's crazy.
It's disgusting is what it is. It's a waste of a pick. And they stole him from us.
Yeah.
That's the most disgusting part. But, I mean, we've already gone into that.
I mean, look at their record. They're what? 0-11?
Oh, God. Why don't you trade him to somebody that can actually use it? You're not going to use him, right? What do you have him? I mean, you need help somewhere else. Every draft projection I saw last year had the Lions taking a wide receiver. They were supposed to take the third best wide receiver on the board.
I wonder who it was. I'm trying to remember who it was.
I don't remember who the first team was that was supposed to take him, a wide receiver. But we knew the Falcons were going to take the tight end.
Yeah.
We knew the Lions were going to go for a wide receiver. Cincinnati was going to go for a wide receiver. And I don't remember the third team. But that being the case, it was on every mock draft. And the Lions just come in and go, we select this tackle. And it's like, Panther fans everywhere. What?
Yeah.
It's like, you gotta be kidding me. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not sold on Justin Fields. Kellen Mond's okay. And the Jets always pick up the wrong quarterback every year. That's just a guarantee.
Zach Wilson ain't doing too well either.
No. They have that same opinion that we do, that if you just draft a top 5 quarterback every year, the problem will be solved. No. Your offensive line is total garbage. It's worse than ours, okay? On a yearly basis. The fact that we had to grab all of your weapons in New York proves that.
Yeah.
So, in every one of them has said, we're on a better team. Find me one that hasn't.
I love for that. I'm gonna bring this up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna love to see Curtis Samuel come back to us.
That's if we got the money, bro.
Because
I would love to see him come back, but if we got the money.
DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel.
And, that's the dream right there.
And then Terrence
the
Marshall.
1,000-yard receiver duo back together. That's the dream.
That's a comeback dream right there.
See, here's the thing, man. Cam Newton is the only Panthers player that I know of that we have cut and actually brought back.
Yeah.
In the last 6 years. That means all of those prior Super Bowl players, AJ Klein, who's a starter on the Saints now, our running back last year, Mike Davis, starter for the Falcons, Effie Obata, starter for the Bills. Every one of these guys that were backups that we cut are now starters. Everywhere. Yeah. You think these teams are going to give them up? No way. No way. You might get a trade offer in there, but the chances are very, very slim.
I don't know what made us cut Mike Davis.
I didn't like it either, to be honest.
He was so good. He was great for Christian McCaffrey's backup, you know?
Honestly, I'm happy with Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why.
Awesome.
Yeah, if you've been watching Chuba Hubbard, that's that 1-2 duo again that we've been waiting for. We were developing Chuba.
Every time he ran, he would say, Chuba!
Chuba, choo-choo! That's going to be the new, that's absolutely going to be the new catchphrase.
Yeah.
Y'all get it started. You heard it here first. Chuba, choo-choo! Come on. How do you not love that? Man, I love Chuba, man. That's the thing, man. He started out with fumbling issues. He started out with catching issues. And now look at him. That's the feel-good story of the year right there.
He's bouncing back.
Everybody is kind of overlooking for the Panthers.
He's bouncing. Yeah, he's bouncing back.
He's not just bouncing back. He is developing perfectly into that 1-2 punch that we want. You know, y'all remember back in training camp when I mentioned this guy reminded me of Jonathan Stewart? Now y'all are starting to see it, aren't you? You know, 12 weeks in, now y'all are starting to really see it. Because this man is powering forward. He's getting those extra yards. He's pushing himself. And I mean, it was just goal after goal after goal after goal. And I wish this team would model themselves after what he's doing. Because, you know, how he's going about this. You know, and not just, oh, well, we'll just go into the next game and hope we go 1-0. No, stop that mindset. We need to set goals. How do you think we got to 3-0 to start the season? We didn't do that just stumbling through. No, we set goals. How do you think we got to the Super Bowl before? In 14 and 15, we set goals.
Set goals.
Yeah. And what Chuba did was basically, okay, first goal, stop the fumbling issues. Check. And not only does he set goals, he accomplishes them. So he's not just talking the talk, he's walking the walk. And that's what I need DJ to do.
Did you see those cool touchdowns he did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I need DJ to do. Because last week's press conference was great and all. And I loved it. I loved the energy. I loved everything he was saying because that's exactly what you need to hear from him. He took accountability. And he said, I'm going to do A, B, and C, and I'm going to accomplish it. Comes out, doesn't accomplish it. And I'm just going, D-Jack. No. This ain't going to do it. But Chuba, on the other hand, Chuba is what we need to model ourselves after as a franchise going forward. Every player, and I'm saying every player needs to adopt this model. Chuba says, okay, fumbling issues, check. Next issue, catching issues. Jug machine. Next week, you only saw one drop ball from this man. You only saw one. Next week, it was 0. Goal accomplished. Check. Next thing, let's run some extra routes with him. Since now he can do that. Check. But we're starting to see him not get those extra yards up the middle. So what does he do? He hits the weight room. And he says, I want those extra yards. You know? I'm not here for the jelly donuts. I'm here for the yards. You know? So he comes out there next week. And that yard per carry goes up. And it's something of beauty. It really is. And just because you saw 2 attempts from him, 6 yards, does not mean he didn't get his yards. His longest attempt was 5 yards on those 2 carries. And I'm going to tell you, man, that's the next Jonathan Stewart. Point blank, that's the next Jonathan Stewart. And Christian McCaffrey is the best of both Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo. Because he's got all those capabilities in him. Plus some. So in all reality, it's a better combo than those 2 were back then. In my opinion. Now, it's not necessarily going to show up in the stat sheet yet. But just wait. Those 2 are building chemistry right now, and it's going to happen. So, speaking of Christian McCaffrey, let's get on to the next topic. This man rolled his ankle, and you could see it on the sideline where he was having issues. How much playing time, snaps-wise, do we give Christian McCaffrey? Knowing that we have Chuba Hubbard, and we have Royce that's doing pretty solidly well. And Abdullah is doing okay. What do you think?
Let's see. What was the question, Corey?
How much snap count or play time are we giving Christian McCaffrey, knowing that we have Chuba Hubbard and Abdullah in the backfield doing pretty well, you know, and Christian McCaffrey with that rolled ankle today?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember. I think I seen him have a couple runs.
Yeah.
And then I did see Chuba run a couple times in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Did our third string play today?
Did we get Royce out there? I don't think Royce ran. No, he did not.
He did not play.
No, we had Abdullah out there, which
Abdullah?
I mean,
Okay.
One
Because
second on
I
this
did.
because I want to highlight this. Abdullah had 2 drops today, which
Okay.
really pissed me off. One, he was wide open. I mean, there was nobody within
Yeah, I saw
acres
that.
of this dude. It was a country mile between him and the defender. And
Yeah, I
that ball
saw
was
that.
thrown right near him. Granted, Cam was under pressure, but he threw it right to him. And he just drops it. And I'm just sitting there like, huh? You cannot be serious, Abdullah. You can't be serious with that. Now, the second one, I'll kind of cut him a little bit of a break. Nah, no, I won't. No, I won't. This dude was afraid to get hit, after he caught this ball,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
I
he
saw that.
drops it. One-on-one coverage. He knows he's going to get hit. Fair enough. But he drops it.
Mm.
And I'm like, man, get off my field. If you're too scared to catch a ball like that, one-on-one, get off the field. What are we playing? Flag football here? Come on, man. Pathetic. Don't do that. When you are a wide receiver, okay, think about slants plays. All right? Slants plays, you are leaving your wide receiver hanging out to dry in zone defenses and sometimes in man defenses. So these guys know they're going to get hit. You cannot go out there and not expect that. Now, on this particular play, it was not even a slant. It was, I don't even know what route that man was running, but you can't go out there one-on-one and expect not to get hit. It's part of the game, Abdullah.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
if you're trying to keep from a fumble from happening, I understand that. I get that. But you didn't even have that ball in your hands. How are you going to fumble it if you don't even have it in your hands? You know what I mean? It just makes no sense to me. Like, is this Little League? Come on, man. Grow a spine. All right. Continue. I'm sorry. I had to get that rant out. That really got under my skin today.
So with the other situation in the beginning of the game,
Yeah.
I think it's around the time first quarter,
Mm-hmm.
how we get. I kind of didn't understand this, but how we get a block punt
Oh man.
and the Dolphins score on us on first quarter like that.
Oh man.
Gee,
You got to be kidding me with that garbage.
I bit my
Like,
tongue
since
for that.
when do we have punting issues in our own end zone?
I'm like, you seen that, right?
Everybody
Clark?
saw it, bro.
Yeah, yeah. See,
Everybody
I
saw
mean,
it. That junk was on national television, bro. I'm trying to tell you. We just embarrassed ourselves and almost gave up the first safety that we've given up in years of Panthers history. When's the
yeah,
last safety we ever gave up? I challenge anybody. Anybody in chat, man. Tell me when the last safety we ever gave up was.
trying to remember that.
I'm actually curious too. You got to go way back to the Fox days
John Fox days, yeah.
for that one. Yeah.
Let's
And
see
I'm
what.
sitting there like, we almost gave up a safety.
Goodness sake, man.
Are you serious? But was that real? Was that real? Did I really see that? Oh my lord. Oh god. Cam Newton at the press box. Oh, I didn't know what was going to happen there. You know, the wide receivers weren't open, and nobody was there. Just excuse after excuse after excuse. You know, I had to take the sack. I had to. There was nowhere to throw this ball. You could have thrown it away, man. Don't do that. If I had a nickel for every time I said throw the ball away today, I'd be as rich as Bill Gates. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Now, Cam Newton, I will give you that excuse. If people want to say that he was holding on to the ball too long, I'll grant you that one. That this one time, I'll grant it to you. Because there were at least half a dozen times where he did. And it led to problems. So, I'm just saying. Alright, so we're sitting on 8 o'clock. I'm going to take my first break here. Or our only break of the stream. And we'll be back. We'll continue on with Anthony here in a Zoom chat. And, yeah, we'll get to some other issues with this team. Because it doesn't just end there. Everybody getting that heat today. Alright, guys, keep pounding.
Open Google Maps to explore your area.
Ah, shoot. Hold up. Hold up. There we go. Set that music. And, break time. See you guys in a few minutes, guys. Keep pounding. Okay. We are back. And I want the first topic of discussion to come from our chat. So here we go. Let's see. Dylan says Panthers suck. Well, you're not wrong. We suck today. I know that. Adam Potter says, no matter what, I'm a diehard Panthers fan for life. Absolutely, man. Ride or die Panthers. I agree, Preaches. The line is just getting worse. I think we just need to rebuild the line. Here's the thing, man. We've been trying that. We've rebuilt it about a dozen times now. Over the course of 6 years, and we're still not getting any results. And my question is, and I posed this last week as well, how are teams like Green Bay, New England, and the Chiefs just reloading their offensive lines over and over and over again successfully, and somehow managing to come out with successful offensive linemen that stay healthy for at least 3 years? And I'm still looking for an answer to that question. I don't know. What do you think, Anthony? You got an answer for that one, man? Or some idea? An idea would be great. We're at the point where we're just lost for answers. Because literally we just picked up like half a dozen former, career linemen, and it didn't work. So what now?
Offensive line was good back in the day. We need something like that, how the Pittsburgh Steelers were.
Absolutely.
And I'm just marking it out there because everybody loved watching Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. Steel curtain defense. I mean, and their offensive line just kept rebuilding and rebuilding and rebuilding every year.
Yeah, that's how I want our team. I want our team to be consistent back to back. Yeah, what you said.
Consistency.
That's it. Every year. I want it to a point where we're like the Patriots to a point of,
we just keep reloading.
We get to see the Panthers every year in the playoffs. Every year.
Facts.
You know how do you know how the situation, how
Facts. Whether we win games in the playoffs or not, we need to be in there every year.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is how the Patriots are in the playoffs almost every single year. We got to be to that point where we're like that, where everybody's like, oh wow, this team's always in the playoffs.
See, here's the thing with that. New England is just built differently, than all these other teams. Yeah, if you look at how Belichick runs his system and how he does his business, he's the head coach and he's the GM.
But always in my opinion, they're always a cheater.
Keep in mind, this man is a head coach and a GM. So he gets to set his own system the way he wants to, and he doesn't have to answer to anybody except for the owner.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be with him. He does a doggone good job with it. Now, I'm gonna make a point with that in a minute, but the Steelers are built differently. With Mike Tomlin, and that's the goal we should aspire to get to. It's the Steelers, how they were consistently getting into the playoffs. They would consistently get like a really high draft pick and still manage to reload their line.
And how is that possible?
Year after year after year. Who are they scouting that late in the draft that it just keeps working for them? And Green Bay is the same way. They keep doing this every year somehow. I would like an answer to that one. Now, what's even more frustrating is watching New England sitting there at number 32 on the draft board, still find a way to reload their line and get Pro Bowlers out of them.
You should pull your hair out.
What scouts are you using? I want some of these scouts in Carolina. Can we have one? Pretty please? With a cherry on top? We'll pay you. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy. It's crazy. We thought we had a top grade guy with Billy Bean, but I thought for a while Norv Turner might be the answer to that. He wasn't. But yeah, New England just sits there at 32, and somehow they get better players than the rest of the league, can even touch. So, what are they doing that we're not doing? That's the major question. And that's where we start solving this problem. We need guys that last 3 years, at least.
Yeah.
That's the starting point. That's the goal number one. They don't even have to be Pro Bowlers. They can just last 3 years. That's all I want. And not be trash. Then we can go up from there. But as it stands, what offensive line is going to want to get traded here? Knowing the rest of the line is trash and everybody's going to put the weight on you. What offensive line is going to... Nobody wants to come here. That's why all these teams are just like, nah, we're not even going to trade our third stringers. Your offensive line's not even worth our third stringers. You know how insulting that is? If I was Scott Fitterer, I would be furious when I got off the phone with these people. We can't even get a third round in the depth charts? Come on, man. Throw us a bone here. We've been throwing y'all bones for about 5-6 years now. It's about time we get one back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we deserve it. We gave y'all Mike Davis, we gave y'all Effie Obata, we gave y'all this player in the third. Where's our love? Oh no, we can't get no love. We can't get no love from y'all. All right, that's how it's gonna be. I'll see how it is. Oh, it's brutal out there, man. It's everybody grab your coats, man. It's brutal out there in the rest of the league. But alright, so Anthony, you were asking, am I going to stay a Panther fan next season? Yes, I am.
Alright. Just
Ride or die
sure.
Panthers, man. Ride or die. I got a YouTube channel based off this team, man. I ain't going nowhere. I might like a couple of teams extra, but this is my main one. I ain't going nowhere. I'm rooted. I've been rooted since 04, 05, man. And I'm gonna tell you, the day that Steve Smith caught that pass in double overtime against the Rams, that is what set my heart on fire with this team. I ain't going nowhere. No. I will never forget that too, because they had a billboard of that in Boa.
Nice.
A lot of people don't know that unless they've been to the games. You know, the people that haven't been to games, they haven't seen it. So I tried to put that on Instagram, on my Instagram, for everybody. And for those that don't know what that is, it's Shadow Warrior 645 with 1W. That's my gamer tag.
I was gonna tell you, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, it should be on YouTube too. Yeah. Thank you.
What the other situation? Also, back when we played the Jacksonville Jaguars when they were also the expansion team. That's the first game that I actually saw to became a fan.
Wow. How about that? Show this man some love for that right there. That's what's up.
That's what made me love football and especially what drew me to the Panthers too is that I like cats.
Mm-hmm.
I like tigers and you know Panthers. I like just cats. So and it would also I have that Carolina blood. So
yeah, man. I'm a Clemson fan myself, so I feel that right there. I feel that.
It's just I knew even Anthony seeing Anthony Johnson play. There's another player I'm trying to remember. All these great players. Steve Berline.
Oh yeah. Berline was a beast.
I'm gonna bring history back.
If any of y'all were lucky enough to see Berline play, man, this dude was a beast.
I think I was. Let's see, we're about the same age, so let's see.
Yeah.
So let's see.
That's those early days, man. God.
90. So you weren't watching that. You weren't even watching football at that age, right?
Probably not. I don't think so. But yeah, I started watching probably
I think I was like
02, 03 and started to learn the game and in 04, right when we were about to go on our Super Bowl run.
Yeah,
so,
that was
I caught it.
That was cool.
I kind of caught it at just the right time.
I remember that year, and I was totally upset. That's just a nail biter.
Yo, I'm still convinced the Pats cheated in that game. I can't prove it, but I'm still convinced of it to this day.
Man.
Y'all know every time we play the Pats, they pull some rule out of the rule book that it's on page like 2050 or something that you won't even think is in there. You go looking for it on Google, it's there. You go, you gotta be kidding me. This is some foolishness right here. This is the type of stuff you end up dealing with every time you deal with the Pats.
Well, our first quarterback, I remember, Frank Wright.
Yeah.
When he played that first game that I'm talking.
Yeah, man.
Goodness, I was celebrating, man.
That was some craziness.
Man.
Oh yeah, those were some good times, man. That and I will say this: John Fox was always a defensive coordinator You know, he's not a head coach. He's a defensive coordinator posing as a head coach.
Yeah.
He's in disguise. But, you know, I loved him for who he was. And the thing I remember most when I went back looking at that Jaguars team back in 06 was the ridiculous amount of money they spent on the contracts.
Yeah, yeah.
Has anybody really gone back and looked at some of those contracts? It's too much. It's too much. Why would you pay these guys that much money? Sheesh. Who's gonna pay a running back $6 million at that point? To be a backup and sit on the bench. I mean, come on, Jacksonville. Some foolishness right there. Anyway, you looking at the current roster though. Yeah, and I hear that Pro Bowl voting is open. Who would you throw into the Pro Bowl vote if you were gonna vote today?
Let's see. That's a tough decision. Let's see.
It is. It
Oh,
is, isn't
man.
it?
Offense or defense or both?
Let's start with offense.
Offense.
I mean, you got the obvious CMC, but beyond that, who would you vote in if you had a choice?
Let's see. I'm trying to see who would. I'll throw in DJ Moore.
I would agree with that. DJ's played a great season thus far. I'm happy with him.
I don't have any disagreements of how he played.
Absolutely agree with you. He had a couple of games where he went like 4 for 7 or something like that, but you know, toss those because they made him a number one wide receiver and they started doubling him. You know,
yeah. So. After Curtis left, and they put him as the number one receiver. So.
Truthfully, they tried to put Robbie Anderson as the number one wide receiver for a number of weeks, and that's why you kept seeing those 4 for 7s. You know, each week because they kept doubling him up or even just singling him up, and he couldn't do much. But you know, it was what it was, and once CMC, the security blanket's been taken away, then you have Robbie Anderson that Sam Darnold started throwing to. And that didn't work. He started forcing that ball in there, so it was 4 for 7. You know, so I'm with you on the DJ pick there. I like that one. Yeah. I like that. The honorable mention for me would be Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, I'll throw that. Yeah, I'll throw him in too.
Honorable mention. I don't think I would Pro Bowl vote him, but honorable mention.
Yeah.
Because of the development that man has worked on this year. I mean, he outworked half this offense. Let's be real.
Yeah.
In just 1 year.
So what about defense?
Minus Christian McCaffrey, of course.
Yeah.
Defensively for me, I gotta go with Reddick. Reddick has been consistently coming back and making plays every game.
He's wreaking havoc.
Yeah. That and Jeremy Chin.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw Derek Brown in there for a little bit. I mean, he did play some good games. I mean, he got to the quarterback a couple times.
He did, but there were a few of them that he was deadly quiet on, you know, where he just didn't do much. And that's another topic of conversation I want to get to is how many yards Gaskin got on us, you know, which was not good. You know, we were boasting one of the top rush defenses in the league. And then you had Kamara that we shut down, you know, and we just felt like we could shut down any running back at that point. We went into Dallas, and they had so many weapons that we just couldn't shut them down. You know, we were focused on everybody else. So that, you know, you have to take that into account with the Dallas game with Derek Brown. Then you start moving into the Eagles Vikings games. They had some solid rushing yards on us, you know, and that rushing defense that we thought was elite in the league, you know, top 5, suddenly started to disappear. You know, and we needed corner help. So all our pressure that was on the line that was going to help Derek Brown, you know, and disguise the fact that Derek Brown was a little better than average, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of disappeared. So all that help went away to help out the corners. So Derek Brown and Nixon are sitting there at defensive tackle like, well, what do we do now? You know, we got to try to stop some of these elite running backs. How are we going to do that? Well, we got that cornerback help trading wise. So a couple of these guys started to move back into the rush defense. You know, and Shaq needed to step up, and he did. That was the main man that I wanted to see step up and fill some of those gaps. You know, the linebackers needed to fill those gaps. And Reddick was the main one that was getting a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks when he got through the gaps. So, then
I
we
feel
decided.
I feel that Shaq Thompson might be on his last edge, though.
Well, here's the thing with Shaq Thompson is he's always had coverage issues, you know, before he's stepped up into the middle linebacker job this year, which I kept repeatedly saying that I didn't think he was ready for the middle linebacker job, but outside linebacker, sure. Inside linebacker, sure. You know, he had the skills for those. Coverage-wise, he's still a question mark, you know, up until training camp, preseason. Then he started to look good, and I was like, okay, I can buy into this.
Yeah.
I can get up on this train. So, we lost Perryman, you know, in the offseason. Sure, why not? Let's put some faith in him. He did learn out behind Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis after all. And AJ Klein.
Mm-hmm.
Who was going to be the next Luke Kuechly replacement if we didn't get rid of him.
Right.
I had full faith that man was going to be our next middle linebacker. I was almost deadly sure of it. And then we let him go, and the Saints picked him up. Instant starter. And I was so mad. Because there goes our top linebacker right there. Our best backup linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So then we had to rely on Shaq. And we had to hope for the best. And now it's starting to catch up with us. You know? These last couple of games, he played some lazy games in coverage and is starting to really catch up. He's having to do a little too much, you know, on stopping runs and, you know, these little screen passes and wheel routes and whatnot. So he's having to do too much. And I'm sitting there like, oh no, this is going to tire him out. He's going to be sitting there in the fourth quarter, missing some coverages, missing some tackles. You know, it's like the 2016 defense all over again as a whole, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if that doesn't sum up how this team is as a whole, I don't know what does. The offense fails, punt, 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 punt. Defense has put pressure on. all the weight goes on the defense. And that defense slowly erodes until you face Tom Brady, and then Tom Brady shreds you like Swiss cheese. I mean, it's just brutal by the time we get to December. It's going to be bad. I mean, yeah, he's had a couple of bad games, but wait till he faces this defense. It won't even be close. And I don't want to be a naysayer of what we have on this defense right now, because I feel like we got some elite level defensive players. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, this is a top 10 defense still. I still believe that. We have the glass ceiling potential to be a top 10 defense, and we've shown it 3 or 4 times this year.
And I feel it's going to get better.
Yeah. I mean, look at the Cardinals game. That was just every part of the team from the top to the bottom showing up, and we were just rolling on all cylinders. So we have shown that we can do that now.
That was a good game.
Yeah, here's the thing, Matt. We've shown that we have that capability now. That is what we're capable of as an entire team. And that's scary for defenses that are facing us, for offenses that are facing us, But then we go into Washington and we just absolutely lay an egg.
I feel like we got froze. Like,
yeah. And it's like that with us every time. We go up the roller coaster and we go, woo, and we're all screaming on the way down, right? And it's just like, oh, man. It's like, we can never stay up there. That's the thing. We can't stay up there. Eventually, what goes up must come down. Isaac Newton, right? Come on. That's this team. It's embarrassing. We're sitting here for a 6th straight year doing the same thing over and over again. This time with a top 10 defense. Come on. Y'all can't give me these excuses at the podium. Oh, we tried our best. We gave it our best. No, you didn't. If you gave it your best, we would have beat this team. We would have beat Washington. We would have beat the Giants. We would have beat the Vikings. And that game should have never went to overtime. If you were playing your best. So don't tell me that no. Stop. Stop the excuses. Nobody wants to hear that. We're past the point of excuses. We're done. We're looking at 2022 now. Because all the what ifs are dead in the water. Oh, what if the Colts beat the Bucks? What if, what if the Saints beat the Bucks? What if we take the division? What if we get to the wild card? What if we get to the divisional round? Dead. All of it. Because we could not play 4 quarters of a complete football game against a Miami Dolphins team. Point blank. That's what it is. Now we've either got to sweep the Bucks or beat the Bills. And neither one's going to happen. I'm going to tell you that right now. Neither one. I got very little faith that will happen. Now, I'll grant you, this is a crazy year in the NFL. A lot of crazy upsets are happening. You look at the Giants, they beat the Eagles today. Nobody expected that. And this is a Giants team that beat 2 NFC South teams. I don't. All right, so yeah, it's crazy. The Giants almost completed the quartet of the NFC South. If you think about it, they almost beat the Falcons. They beat us. They beat the Saints. But they got blown out by Tampa Bay. And they beat the Eagles and the Raiders in the same year. What is going on up in New York? What is in the water in New York? Can we get some of that? I want some of that sparkling water, man. I want some of that sparkling water down here in Carolina. That is wild. That is straight up wild. Just imagine them beating the entire NFC South in the same year. That has never happened, by the way. And will never happen again for the next 50 years. I guarantee you that. Unless the Giants become some Super Bowl team like they did before. I mean, and then it's up to scheduling. But, case in point, any given Sunday, anything can happen upsets wise. So
I was gonna ask you, Corey.
Yeah.
So what do you think for the remaining of the schedule? What would you predict us being?
All right. Looking at the schedule, you guys can see this, right? Yeah, you guys can see it. Schedule. Next week should be
We have a bye next week.
Yep, bye next week. Bye beats us 21-0. I'm just kidding, y'all. We play a hard-fought game against bye week, but we just can't win. It gets our own bye week. We lose 30-something to 10. I'm just joking. All right, let's be serious here. Falcons, that should be a win. That should be more points than it was last time. Because the last time we played the Falcons, it was a 19-13 win.
Yeah, we should
easily pass 20 points with that horrible secondary that they have. No doubt about it. And Matt Ryan has been struggling with his own offensive line there in Atlanta.
Yeah. I'm hoping they maybe 34-10 win.
I don't know about 34. I'd say probably 24-28.
Okay.
It's more realistic with the way we've been struggling on offense. All the offensive line problems, you got to factor those in. You got to factor in the penalties. And the refs were clearly against us today. I counted at least half a dozen penalties that were not called, that should have been called on Miami.
Yes.
That was absurdly ridiculous.
Agree.
I'm very frustrated with that. But I'm not blaming this loss on the refs. Let me make that perfectly clear. I'm not. At all. We beat ourselves today. In many different ways. But that did not help.
So we got the Falcons, and then what's the next one?
Buffalo. And Buffalo, by the way.
And Buffalo.
Mm-hmm. Highmark Stadium. That's an L.
Man,
That's an L. I'm not even going to sugarcoat that one. That's an L. They beat us by 10. At least. That's starting point. Now, however many points they get after that, lead on us, we don't know.
Okay. After Buffalo.
They're going to expose D-Jack. They're going to expose AJ because AJ, again, had a sloppy game. Where he was getting roasted. So they're going to target those corners and Shaq over the middle.
Yeah.
Guarantee that. So that's going to be probably 15-point loss to Buffalo. I don't see that one being close. All right. Tampa Bay Buccaneers after that.
Tampa Bay.
In our own stadium.
Okay.
This is our one and only opportunity to take down the Bucs.
Yes.
We're not going to do it in Tampa. I can guarantee you that. Because once that crowd gets raucous in Tampa, it's over. That energy gets pumping, the Bucs start playing better. Now granted, if you were watching a little bit of that Buccaneers game at the end of our game, you'll notice that offensive line was giving up some false starts and some dumb penalties. And that's been consistent for the past 5 weeks. I've noticed it. And they don't have a complete offensive line yet. It's going to take them another year of draft picks, but they'll have it.
Yeah.
So we got to watch out for them in that draft. We got to make sure that they do not steal our offensive lineman. Yeah. I want to say that again so people hear this. Do not let the Buccaneers steal our offensive lineman. Do not let Tom Brady get the protection that he needs to kick our rear ends again. All right. Scott Fitter, I hope you're listening to that, buddy. If you're listening to my streams at all, or any part of management, there you go. All right. Tom Brady shreds our defense. The weaknesses are obvious. Again, it's going to be Shaq. It's going to be D-Jack. D-Jack's going to be on Mike Evans. And we've seen what Mike Evans can do. That's going to be ugly. I don't know how many times he's going to get burned in that game, but it's not going to be good.
So what do you think?
Gronk over the middle against Shaq. That's going to be a lot of short yardage completions, check downs, whatnot like that. I can see that. Even with Gronk's neck injury, which I'm surprised that man's not wearing a neck pad, by the way.
Yeah. So what do you think? A 6-11?
Yeah.
As
far as that Buccaneers game, it'll depend on how we play that game because the Bucs have been struggling in the first half. If you notice some of the scores of Tampa Bay,
I'll be amazed if it's 7-10.
I could see a win against Tampa in our own stadium. I could see it if we play a complete game after that Bills game.
Yes.
Here's the problem. A lot of our weaknesses are going to be on tape, plus whatever Tom Brady exposes.
Yeah.
So
our defense needs to get to Tom Brady no matter what.
And Tom has that ability to find weaknesses in your defense that you never thought you had.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know how
this man studies.
I don't know how the guy does.
That is probably the smartest quarterback I've ever seen, besides Peyton Manning himself with the audibles. So, he does his homework throughout the week. He'll find any defensive hole that you have, even as tiny as it might be. So here's how we attack quarterbacks like Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers. You got to take away their targets at wide receiver. Now, yes, that does open up the run. It does. And that's okay. If we give up rushing yards versus stopping big passing plays from Tom Brady, I'll take that. That's a win any day. That's a win any day of the week. Because this man cannot hurt us on deep balls when we do that. He may be able to hurt us on short check down passes, but he's not going to hurt us on medium passes as much. Those numbers are going to be reduced if you put people back in coverage. We're running a 4-3, which means we're rushing 4 people, 2 defensive ends, 2 defensive tackles. Everybody else I want back, except for Shaq. I want Shaq right there in the middle, just in case Tom decides, I'm going to do a running back sneak, or some weird rushing play. Be prepared, man. When Tom Brady gets out of that pocket, he is dangerous. He's every bit as dangerous in the pocket as he is out. So what you want to do is take away those opportunities and force Tom to take a little bit longer to find his targets. That'll give that pass rush that much longer to get there, to get to it. That'll give him that time. Now, Wes Horton's not going to have any success with that, but Brian Burns might.
Mm-hmm.
He might be able to take advantage of that. And Reddick as well. If you decide to blitz Reddick, be wary, because they will throw Gronk at you. And you'll need 2 people to handle Gronk.
Yep.
That's the problem. And even with 2 people, you still can't handle Gronk. That's the scary part. I mean, you see what this man can do. He's an absolute tank. So, plus he gets yards after the catch, too. Best tight end in football, as far as I'm concerned. So, yes, that's the weakness that you give up when you do that. So, we need to take away targets. That's why I want only our guy Shaq sitting in the middle. Ready to handle any running play that happens, just in case Tom hands it off. If it's a play fake, sit there. Move around side to side, but don't go forward or backward. Tom will see it. And he'll say, there's zone coverage. There's man coverage. Zip. You don't want that. So, that's how you take advantage of quarterbacks like Tom Brady and Matt Ryan. And you'll have a lot more success with Matt Ryan than you will Tom Brady. Because Tom Brady makes adjustments. He'll see this stuff on tape, and everything you see in the first half is not going to be there in the second half. Guaranteed. And when he was working with Belichick, both of them working together, the 2 geniuses working together, that was terrifying. That's why nobody could beat him. Even some of the best defenses out there, Pittsburgh's, you had Denver was strong back in the day. They took away his options, but he still found them. So, honestly, it's going to be a rough game. We're going to have to really chess match Tom Brady the entire game if we want to beat this guy. And I just don't see that happening. With the weaknesses we're starting to expose on defense. I don't like this. We got 2 weeks to fix those defensive problems before the Bills expose them again. And once Tom sees them on tape, it's over. Because, once he sees a weakness, it's attack, 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 attack. He will beat you to death with your weaknesses. So, for me, that offensive line looks like a weakness for Tampa. If we could take advantage of that, I think we got a shot. Because Cam Newton's going to be Cam Newton. He's going to dial up during that game for sure. But at this point, we need a sweep against Tampa to get the division. That's not happening. So we'd be better off just playing for picks. My opinion. At this rate, yes, we can beat the Saints, and we probably will. And that's okay. But splitting with the Buccaneers is the best I could see us doing. We beat the Falcons, we lose to the Buffalo Bills. So, it's essentially these last 5 games, you're sitting there 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2. Add that to the current record. And see, this is why that Giants game comes into play here. That's why that Vikings game comes into play here. That's why that Washington game comes into play here. We could have easily had 10 wins for this season.
Yep.
Had we taken care of our business and stayed on track. But the Giants derailed us. We got back on track with the Falcons. We said, okay, well, we don't have a safety net, but we can still get 9. That's still there. We lose to the Pats, that's still on track. I saw that loss coming at that exact score, 24-6. I saw it. That was expected. Then we get that surprise win over the Arizona Cardinals. And I said, okay, we're back on track for 9 or 10 here. Maybe we can do this. And we take that 6-point loss to Washington. That's the one that killed our season, in my opinion.
Yep.
We should have won that game. And by the way, this is the same Washington team that we decided we just had to have revenge against last year, and it cost us the Oregon tackle in the draft picks. This year, it cost us a playoff spot. What are we doing here? I don't get it. Do you want your revenge against Ron Rivera, or do you not? This team can't decide what they want. And that's exactly the problem. We have no identity. We have had no identity from day one. Once we got the 3-0, everybody's like, oh, this team is so good. This team is so good. We roll into Dallas. Okay, 36-28. We look good. We thought, okay, maybe we found an identity. Nope, we didn't. Lost both trap games. Lost to the Giants. Barely beat the Falcons. Which, that score resembled the Giants' score over the Falcons, by the way. Just wanted to point that out. So we were barely better than what the Giants were putting up against the Falcons. That's not an identity. Lost to the Patriots, that's not an identity. Now we think we found who we are against the Cardinals. Nope. Case of mistaken identity against Washington again. And then today, we just showed our true colors. 33-10. And it's always the usual suspects I'm calling out every single stream. It's the offensive line. You know, it's always a quarterback of some kind. It's always the offensive coordinator, Joe Brady. And it's always somebody on defense. The last 2 weeks it's been Shaq and D-Jack. But I guarantee that's going to change once we face Tampa Bay.
That's what you just did.
My thing is, Matt, we don't have any excuses on defense to be giving up 33 points to the Dolphins. There's no excuse for that. Let me show y'all something, man. Y'all are going to flip how many yards Waddle got today. Listen to this. 9 targets, 9 catches out of 10 targets, 137 yards, and a touchdown. Defense, do you find that acceptable? Because I don't. This man barely got over 100 in any of the games this year. And those were against weak opponents. Let me get into Waddle's stats. This is going to blow your mind. I threw this out here last stream on Thursday. I told y'all. Do not let this guy beat you. All right, his best games. Check this out. 8 catches for 65 against the Jets. It's the Jets. Come on. 8 catches for 83 against the Texans. 7 catches for 83 against a horrendous Falcons secondary. 12 catches for 58 against the Raiders. But notice it took him 12 catches to do that. Just to get 58. Against the Bills defense, now this is arguably the best one I've seen on this list. 6 catches for 48. But he didn't get a touchdown. This guy hasn't played anybody. He hasn't gotten over 100 yards in any of these games. Even against the Jets, the Texans, the Jags, none of them. And we allow 137 and a touchdown. That's just sad. No, sad is not the word I'm looking for. Pathetic is the word I'm looking for. And he gets that in 9 catches. Same amount as he got in the Jets game. Pathetic's the right word. I can't believe y'all to let him do this, man. I can't believe y'all let him do this to us. This is a former Chargers wide receiver, by the way. If I'm right. I think he was. No, different guy. Okay. I was thinking of Weddle, the defensive guy. My bad. Rookie from Alabama. He even has 2 fumbles. And lost 1 this year. 4 touchdowns total. That's not exciting at all. He doesn't even have 800 yards yet. Some of the premier wide receivers out there have 800 yards plus by now. Over 1,000. This guy's not a threat. But we let him become a threat. Why? laziness. It's just sad. Really is sad. Alright. Oh, and by the way, where is he from? Alabama. What'd I tell you about Alabama, people? What'd I tell y'all? If you want to win games in the NFL, get Bama, people. I rest my case on that one. I got people saying, oh, we should go for people from Oklahoma and Georgia and this, that, and the third college. And I said, nope, Bama. 100% Bama. I'm a Clemson fan saying this, okay? My team has faced Bama twice in a national title game. Got trophies out of it. And the third time we came dangerously close. So you want to tell me I don't know about players from Alabama? Please. Tell me another lie. Bama players are legitimate. Alright. And I want the best 53-man roster we can possibly build. If we got to get them from Bama, we get them from Bama. If we got to get them from the Gamecocks, we got to get them from the Gamecocks. Okay? Who didn't score a single point, by the way. Had to throw that out there. I'm sorry. I had to throw the jab out there. I had to. Alright. I'm done.
What about Tar Heels?
I'm done. I'm not
What about
throwing
the
any
Tar
more
Heels?
jabs to the Gamecocks. I love y'all if you're Gamecocks fans. I had to throw one in there. They haven't scored a single point against Clemson in a game. On Saturday. The last time that happened was 89, the year after I was born. Alright, I'm done. Back to Panthers football stuff. Alright. Oh, God. That was a fun night. Transactions, okay. Now, when you start looking at some of the transactions Miami has, you say, okay, well, these guys are having injury problems too. It's not just us. You know, look at this list. It's not just us, folks. They got hit with that injury bug. But notice what players are on ours. Dennis Daly with a glute injury. Miles Hartfield with a wrist injury. John Miller with an ankle. And Daquan Jones with a knee. And you saw all four of them today. All four of them. John Miller did not practice on Thursday and Friday coming into this game. And was listed as out. You know, funny thing, I saw him in the starting rotation, though. Was that just me? Or did y'all see him in the starting rotation, too? Anthony, what did you see, man? Did you see him in the starting rotation?
Yeah.
That was a weird thing for me. Was that a game time decision, you think?
Could be a Matt Rule thing.
Here's my concern about that. Because this is why Ron Rivera was driven out of Carolina. This is one of the main things that pissed me off about Ron Rivera. He played these guys before they were fully healed. The player said, I want to go. I want to play. I want to play. I want to play. Ron Rivera says, okay, go ahead. Doesn't even look at the injury report. No, go ahead. These guys get worse injuries. They stay on the IR. And it just became a mess in 16 and 17. And particularly 18. That's when, we're just like, no, this is enough. This is enough of this. And I mean, it wasn't just that issue that drove Ron Rivera out. It was a whole list of issues and grievances I had with him. But, maybe it was just the cancer changing his personality and how he coaches, and that is a thing, by the way. If you study medical history, that is a thing. It does affect people's personalities. It's scary. It really is. It can turn people 180. And that's why, be kind to those that have that cancer and all these disabilities and stuff like that. You just don't know, man. You don't know. But yeah, that was one of the things that really frustrated me, and I don't want to see Matt Rule go down that path. That's the last thing I want to see. Because Matt Rule is doing so good, and if that becomes the one thing that gets him fired, above all else, honestly, that's very disappointing. Because he checks every box that you want in a head coach. All right. Going to the chat here. Y'all need a new offensive coach and a new head coach? Absolutely. Quarterback is only as good as the O-line that could protect them. Absolutely. Exactly, man. Like I kept saying, man, you could have Matt Ryan, you could have Aaron Rodgers, you could have Cam Newton, you could have Tom Brady. And look at him, man. The quarterback does not give you your entirety win. They don't. It's a team sport. Team sport. And it starts with the lines. Offensive and defensive lines. That's how you start building. If you don't build that way, you're doomed to fail. And this team has been doomed to fail for 6 years because we didn't do that. Now, granted, this is a little tougher. It's a tall order. And people don't expect this because they don't understand this. And I'm starting to develop a theory here based on what I've seen in the last 5 or 6 years. And y'all tell me if this holds water or not. But I'm thinking that the offensive line production, coming out of the colleges is not good enough, to support offensive lines in the NFL, even with development, even with time. Because a lot of these guys are being forced right in there, They're being put right on the enemy lines. You know what I'm saying? Like, if this was a war, they're being put right in the trenches right away, because of injuries. And there's a growing concern about offensive lineman injuries. And again, my theory rolls on to a whole list of teams that have had offensive line injuries. It's not just us. But we were the ones that got affected the most because that is what our offense is dependent on. If we don't have a line to protect our quarterbacks, we are screwed. And it's just game after game after game of that. But my theory goes that this is not the only team, that's had that issue. And the products coming out of the draft are not good enough to sustain that or fix that problem. Now, I could be wrong. I could be totally off base here. That's why I say it's just a theory at this point in time. I have no way to prove it right now. That's why it's a theory. But if I'm right, and the products that are coming out of these colleges from the offensive linemen are not strong enough to help out these NFL teams, that's not good. That has to come from the offensive line in the college system. They got to fix that problem. If is it recruiting? Is it something else? And it goes back into the college system at that point, if this theory is correct. And honestly, I want that theory to be wrong and for us to just be picking the wrong guys. That way, we can fix that ourselves by drafting the correct ones. Go after the guys that Belichick is looking at. Go after the guys that Mike Tomlin is looking at. Go after the guys that, that are helping to rebuild these empire teams, that keep going to the playoffs every year. Why are we not scouting them? And I was looking back and I saw that the scout that we had in 2015 was linebacker intangible strength, That's what he favored, when he was scouting stuff. And when you go looking around, there's different strengths for different scouts, right? I think that's how it works. And yeah, keywords, I think that's how it works. I can't prove it again because I don't know. I'm not an NFL scout, so I have no idea. What we need in place of that would be an offensive line heavy scout, right? If that's how it works, that's what we need to start looking at as far as scouts. That way, we can start to steal some of these offensive linemen from, say, Tampa Bay, Arizona, Green Bay, New England, Kansas City right now are some of the top guys that have great offensive lines. Some of the great coaches out there that have great pickups. That's what we want. And when we start pulling some of these guys to Carolina, and the thing is, we got to make them want to come here. Because right now, they don't want to come here. No team wanted to trade even a third string or a fourth string guy to us. Not even worth it. They said, nah, we're not even going to bother. The second that we have something worth moving for a piece like that, second string offensive tackle or a second string offensive guard, that's when we know we're starting to make some moves. And start to rebuild this line. But until then, we're wasting our time trying to make trades for offensive linemen. It's just not going to happen. Nobody's willing to move anything. So what does that force us to do? Free agency or the draft. And as we see, the free agency market didn't work. So guess what we got to turn to? The draft. And that's been the constant problem with teams like us, Atlanta's having that problem where they just don't go for offensive linemen, top grade guys. And look at Matt Ryan's line. That's how this man keeps getting killed back there. As a, mostly as a pocket passer. And they finally talked to Matt Ryan and they say, look, you got to start running it. That's the only way you're going to avoid these sacks. You can't just sit back there as a pocket passer and just go zip, 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 zip. You're not Tom Brady. You are vulnerable because this offensive line is trash. And it's been trash except for 1 year. And that's the 1 year they went to the Super Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. That's not a coincidence. That's a fact. Now, my question is, if they can pull that off in 1 year and build the offensive line that they need, why can't we do that? For the same amount of money. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? If New England can sit back there at 32 spot and keep reloading year after year after year after year and get the results that he's getting, why can't we do that? If Green Bay can keep reloading year after year after year, why can't we do that? And the simple fact of the matter is, all you need to do is look at the Atlanta model of the 1 year that they went to the Super Bowl. That's the path we need to follow. Why? Because if they can pull that off in 1 year, we can build depth around it in 2 or 3. Point blank. We shouldn't have this problem again for a long time if we manage to pull that off. So, Lock Poppy says, rough game. Yes, indeed it was. He says you need to be the Panthers GM. Man, stop. I would love to, work with Scott Fitter, but, stop. Stop. Come on. I love the comments like that. That's awesome, though. I love that y'all support me that much, man. And y'all support my ideas that much. But I'm just following trends, man. I'm following patterns. It's realistically what it is. Ooh, excuse me. Cam is a bust, Sam Darnold Bun says. Cam is a bust. Wow. Now there's a comment that I was not expecting to see. I don't think he's a bust. I think he just had a bad game. And here's the thing, man. When you look at Cam Newton thus far, since he's came back, let me see if I can pull up his numbers for the last 3. There he is. Sorry. Oof. All right, so Cam Newton, last 3 games, he's got 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 289 yards, 74.9 rating. All right, so my thing is that I've seen a lot worse from backups around the league. A lot worse. Is he a bust? No. Is he a backup quality quarterback right now? Probably. Potential starter? Yeah, I'd say so. With this team, we've had enough problems that, is he the answer going forward? We'll see. Here's what I need to see from him. I want to see 5 more games of him giving his all. Earn your 10 mil, go work, man. Go take care of business. Let's see what you got. End of the year, we'll see how much you're worth. How much we're willing to pay you. And to me, so far, $10 million, I'm kind of half and half whether it's worth it or not, for 10 mil. Here's the thing. First of all, we kind of overpaid him. Unless that's what he was asking for. Then in that case, give him what he wants, for that 1 year. But don't overpay, don't go completely ape with it. Yeah. Don't throw the bananas in there, But 10 mil is, what it is. That's what we're paying him. For our $10 million, he has given us these numbers. And not just these numbers, but the energy, the leadership, the locker room presence, the let's get down to business and take care of business mentality that we've been missing. He's been giving us the accountability that we've been missing. That's what this team's been lacking ever since the Dallas game. Prove me wrong. Because right now, yeah, I'm feeling that's how we're doing. Up until he shows up. We have no identity. We have no accountability. We have no leadership, really, except for Christian McCaffrey. And when Christian McCaffrey's off the field, who do we turn to? We turn to Robbie? We turn to Robbie? No. Leadership should go. Next in the order should be DJ. Don't look at Robbie. He's not a leader. He'll give you quality plays, but he's not a leader, in my opinion. But still, when you talk about what this team was lacking up until Cam Newton shows up, accountability, leadership, the ability to hone in your skills, and not get lazy out there, And another aspect is don't give up stupid penalties, And we were doing that like crazy. We were handing out penalty yards like candy for like 3 weeks. And then you notice Cam come back in and he's just like, no, we're going to stop that. Only the offensive linemen are doing it now. And that's because they are just trash. It's plain and simple. And I don't know how I feel about those taunting penalties. No. Toss those out. Nah. Reddick doesn't toss. Reddick doesn't taunt, man. Come on. Give me a break. When's the last time you saw that man taunt anybody in the league? We go 11 games. If he was going to taunt somebody, he would have done it a long time ago. Trust me, he would have done it against Patriots players. And in that case, I would support him. I would back him up. Go ahead and taunt those guys because New England players play dirty, man. They do all kinds of dirty stuff, man. You would have my full support on that one. I would back you up. And if you want to throw in a taunting penalty against New England, go for it. Just don't do two, don't go overboard. But against the Dolphins, nah. He ain't taunting in this game. Come on. That's the refs trying to throw us under the bus again. If anybody buys that, nobody's buying that narrative, refs. Come on. Nobody is. Y'all just don't like him because he's successful. That's what it is. That's exactly it. It ain't got nothing to do with race. It ain't got nothing to do with beliefs. It ain't got nothing to do with who you voted for. This man was thrown under the bus just because he was successful and he was a Panther. That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. They hate this team that much. Ladies and gentlemen. They hate this team that much. I don't know, man. I counted at least 3 holding penalties that should have been called on them. A pass interference or 2 that should have been called on them. But okay. Y'all want to call us on everything. All right. Looks like we're playing everybody, the Miami Dolphins and the refs. Great. Yeah, this is going to go well. Every time that happens, we're already at a disadvantage. And it's just not good. But, and I'll reiterate this again. That second pick that came through was pass interference, in my opinion. Now, you might disagree. Argue your case. But what I saw, if you got an attention to detail, like I do, you're looking at that arm. And I guarantee you, if these refs were doing their job correctly, they would have seen it too. Or maybe they saw it, they just chose to ignore it. Whatever the case may be, that's a pick. And it turned into 7. Which I'm not happy about. But if anybody thinks that Cam Newton is a bust, no. He just had a bad game like any other quarterback. It happens. So, let me see if I can pull up his stats for the last 3 here. All right. Last 3 games, that's what I want. Okay, 2021. We're still looking at years. I want the last 3 games specifically. That's what I want. Because that'll tell you exactly how he's doing. Alright, yeah. 29 for 52. 289 yards. 3 touchdowns. Ignore the 2 picks. Because before this, he had 0 picks. He had 0. And one of those should not have even been a pick. Okay. Let's play devil's advocate here. Imagine that was a pass interference call instead of a pick. There you go. That puts only 1 interception on that board. Now, doesn't that number look a little bit better? Wouldn't that number of yards go over 300? Wouldn't that passing completed percentage go over 30 completed passes for this year? But okay. Yes, you factor in the 2 sacks. Yes, you factor in all the pressures. Yes, you factor in how long he's held on to the ball. Sure. Okay. And I'm assuming that's first down percentage, which is 25. And normally, you see this number consistently sitting in between 30 and 38. Let's call it 39. It tops out at 39 in 2015. But it's consistently in the 30 range. And consistency is the key. Now, here's the numbers I want to point out. Look at the sack column. And y'all, all these doubters out there that are not subs, that are not followers here, or anyone that's new here, that still believes that Cam Newton is the problem, needs to look at this number. Now, based on the limited amount of snaps that Cam has had, 2 sacks. Now, you might think that's not too bad, but think about the pressures. The amount of pressures is bad. And we'll get there. We'll get there, folks. But I want to show y'all this one. Alright. We go back to 2019. He got sacked 6 times. And still put up 32% on first downs. Percentages. 2018. He got sacked 29 times. 2020. He got sacked 31 times. 33. 35. 35. 36. 36. 38. 43 in his rookie year. Need I say more? The offensive line is clearly the problem. Bringing back Cam Newton was a great move, but it didn't solve your problem. It only made it look nice. And for those that keep pushing the Cam Newton is the problem narrative, I've got stats to back up my case, man. I've got stats. You can look these up. These are public stats. They're on the Panthers website. All you have to do is go look them up. And some of these people just don't want to do it. Either they're lazy or they just don't feel like supporting their case, and trying to have a proper debate. Yeah, okay, Irving is a backup swing. All right. Talking about Cam Irving? Yeah, what are we going to do about Cam Irving? Good question. Since the focus has clearly shifted to the O-line. Yeah, Dennis Daly needs to go. Michael Jordan needs to go. Pat Eflin is not the answer. Tackleberg is not the answer. I still trust Trent Scott to a degree, but you don't want to put him in there for a long amount of time. John Miller's trash. That basically leaves Taylor Moton and Trent Scott out of this entire line. And maybe Brady Christensen. Brady Christensen, I would not keep out there for a long distance of time. One, because he's a rookie and he's still developing. Two, because, eventually he's going to falter because all the weight's going to be on him and Taylor Moton. And you don't want that. Eventually he's going to crack. This is what happens when you don't fix the original spot. The problem keeps getting worse. It's like an infection. If you don't treat the source at the start of it, those roots just keep going. And it just keeps getting worse. Alright, so Irving's a good swing, but don't expect more than that. You're just asking too much from him, to be honest. I agree. We got a bunch of swing type guys, but that's not good enough. I mean, it's enough for patchwork until you can draft people, but if you're in the win now territory, like we were this year with all the trades and acquisitions that we made, all these moves, all these draft picks, to set us up for a top 10 defense, that patchwork offense is not going to do it. It's just going to be another Panthers offense, that's going to struggle. Now, granted, it's a hair better than watching all your quarterbacks end up on the IR or in the medical tent. I'll grant you that. That's a step forward. But we still got a lot of work to do. Step forward. Step one, make sure your quarterbacks are not getting killed back there. Check mark. Next goal. This is where we start fine-tuning. We start seeing who's legitimate, who's not, who's good, who's trash. And we're at that stage now, I guess. If this is how they're doing it, if this is their mindset, I'm okay with it for now. But we need to draft guys, man. This has got to be... I need an offensive tackle, I need a guard, and I need a center. First 3 picks. It's got to be. Got to be. You can't... I'm done settling for patchwork offensive linemen. We're done with this. And this team just can't decide if they want a playoff spot or not. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. I mean, possibly we could get one? No. 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 These guys don't want it enough. Then the Falcons game. Oh, yeah, we have a playoff chance again. Nope. Lose to the Bills. We somehow managed to pull off a win against the Buccaneers at home. And everybody thinks, oh, we're in the playoffs now. We're in the playoffs now. Nope. Nope. We beat the Saints. And then we dropped the Bucks again. And we're out. How does that help our draft picks? See? This is the problem. Number one, you should have signed Cam to begin with. If you're going to mess around and do all this nonsense and actually try to make all these acquisitions on defense and all this stuff, and make it a top 10 defense, put Cam on your team. If you got $10 million, why are you just now in week 9 signing this man? But no. Let's screw around and let's get Mike Barkley first. Yeah, because that's the answer to our problems, right? Matt Barkley. Please. This is another case of, well, we want it, but we don't. We want it, but we don't. And it's just like the fan base, the fair weather fan base, that they keep calling us, right? We're the fair weather. I'm going to tell you this right now. This fan base is not fair weather. This is split right down the middle. Half this fan base wants to win. The other half, they either don't know what this team is or they just don't care anymore. Because they've seen enough losing. That they said, yep. I'm just like, okay. We're still on for the ride, but, ride or die. Ride or die. Ride or die Panthers. Yeah. Ride or die Panthers. Yep. You ever see those medical shows where the guys are almost dead and they use the electroshocks to revive guys? That's our team, except this team's been electroshocked about half a dozen times this year. And beep, 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 flatline. That's what we did today. That's exactly what we did today. I can't believe we let their wide receiver, Jalen Waddle, get 100+ yards on this defense. That's inexcusable. Now tell me this. If you are trying to get to the playoffs, if you are legitimately pushing for the playoffs, why would you go up, what was it, 100-something yards, 137 yards to this man right here in a touchdown? These guys don't want it. These guys don't want it. They don't want it bad enough. Guys, we're wasting our time. Let's play for picks. I'm done. Y'all with me on that? I'm just done. We had so many chances to make these playoffs. The Colts were about to hand us another opportunity to get into the playoffs, and we just didn't want it. You know, the Colts almost beat the Bucs. Almost. It was so close. That door was right there for us. And it's unfortunate that they gave Tom Brady 3.5 minutes. You can't do that and expect to win. But it was close enough that door was almost open to us if we wanted it. You know? Saints are going to lose to the Cowboys. Who's to say that's not already happening right now? You know? Saints could give us an opportunity to get in. And look at this. Packers beat the Rams. And the Rams were supposedly going to be one of the best teams in the NFC. But they've gone on a slide. That door is open to us too. Can you imagine? What if my scenario had actually played out like I thought it would? What if we had gotten the win over Washington last week? We controlled our destiny, and we got this win this week. That's taking into account that we lost to the Giants, right? We lost to the Eagles and Vikings, you know, teams that we shouldn't lose to. But we did. Look how close that door was for us right there. 38-31. To try to retake the division lead. It was so close. Colts choked. We choked. And it just wasn't there anymore. Meanwhile, you got the Giants beating the Eagles. I mean, that's just ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous. You got this Giants team that's surprising all kinds of teams this year, ruining people's seasons. You know, and let me remind you that had we made the playoffs in the divisional round, right, as a divisional winner, we would have played Arizona. And Arizona would not have had all of their starters back by that point. I don't think they would. I don't think Nuke would be in. DeAndre Hopkins, they call him Nuke in Clemson, if you're not familiar with that nickname. I don't think they would have had him back. So that's a huge weapon that they wouldn't have had. That gave us the opportunity to go blow for blow with the Cardinals and win. Okay, we go to the NFC championship game, right? We face, let's say the Cowboys, right? Let's say the Cowboys. We go toe-to-toe with them again. Except this time, we've got Cam Newton. We didn't have him last time. Imagine we win that game. Then it's just the Rams. If they were on that winning streak, right? Which they aren't now. So if we were to have split with the Bucks, which was doable, we're sitting there in a very, very good position. Yeah, this is a situation where we can afford to lose that Bills game and be okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a problem. And what if the Saints were to upset Tampa Bay? You see where this is going, folks? All we had to do was stay on track. All we had to do was get our win against Miami this week, and we just couldn't be bothered to do it. We just couldn't be bothered to do it, guys. Watch this. Boom. 7th seed. Stretching the possibilities here. But this is 2021 we're talking about here. We're talking about a Giants team that just beat the Eagles, of all teams, plus 2 NFC South teams and the Raiders. So if the Giants are capable of that, anything is possible this year. We're throwing all kinds of random possibilities in here this year. I'm not ruling anything out. The Rams just took a three-game slide. That's what happens right there.